U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and the president's son-in-law Jared Kushner participated in indirect talks with Iran's foreign minister in Oman today after several weeks of escalating tensions between Washington and Tehran. Iran's foreign minister saying the talks were, quote, lengthy and intensive and calling it a good start. Those meetings coming as President Trump is ratcheting up pressure on Iran, with the top U.S. military commander in the Middle East participating in the talks today, while the president's so-called massive armada heads towards Iran. Hours after those talks concluded, the State Department announced a new slate of sanctions targeting illicit Iranian oil and the shadow fleet Iran uses to transport that oil. Joining me now is Karim Sadjadpour, Senior Fellow at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. What are you hearing about today's meetings? Was any progress made?
I'm skeptical that progress was made, but for Iran, their goal was to avert a U.S. military attack. And it seems for the moment the United States and President Trump are focused on this diplomatic process. But we know from history that President Trump, even when negotiations are happening, and it appears diplomacy is taking its course, is also prepared to take military action. So I think the Iranian regime cannot sleep too carefully at night.
Well, and I guess a lot of people are questioning what the ultimate goal is here. Is it about the nuclear program? Is it about regime change? How do you see this playing out ultimately?
The U.S. has outlined four major priorities with Iran. One is Iran's nuclear program. Another is its missile program. The third is its regional proxies, and the fourth is its internal repression. And Iran is sought to only talk about the nuclear file. And given how weak Iran is, both internally and externally, I think President Trump is expecting some pretty significant concessions from the Iranian regime. And so far, they haven't offered anything meaningful.
You know, President Trump told my colleague Tom Yamas in their one-on-one interview this week that he believes that Iran is thinking about rebuilding its nuclear program. What do you know about the status of that? Has any reconstruction actually begun?
Iran's regime is so thoroughly penetrated by both U.S. and Israeli intelligence that they have to be very careful about reconstituting their nuclear program or making a dash for nuclear weapons, because they would more than likely get caught and potentially attacked. So what Iran has also been trying to do concurrently is to rebuild its missile program, because it doesn't control its own skies. Its air defense system was destroyed last June. And that, I think, is the more likely avenue that Iran is going to prioritize to try to rebuild its missile program, which, you know, ultimately that did prove far deadlier in its battle against Israel than its nuclear program.
Let me ask you, because just days before the talks, the Pentagon actually said that it shot down an Iranian drone that was aggressively approaching a U.S. aircraft carrier in the region. Do you still think some type of military action is on the table here?
I think the likelihood of military action is much higher than the likelihood of a diplomatic deal between the United States and Iran. President Trump issued at least on 8 occasions a warning to Iran that if they kill protesters, the United States would act and it would have their back. And Iran drove a giant truck through President Trump's red line. There's now a significant U.S. military buildup in the Middle East, and I'm skeptical that we're on the verge of a deal. I think we're more likely this could be a prelude to another attack on Iran.
What do you make of the fact that the U.S. military commander in the Middle East participated in the talks today? With our final 20 seconds here.
It's a testament to the fact that the military option is still very much on the table. And in our relationship with Iran, economic coercion, political coercion, and military threats are a very strong part of the policy.
All right, Karim Sadjadpour, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.